So, good afternoon and welcome to today's class. So we are still on support and resistance. So in the last class we were able to differentiate between a minor zone and a major zone. And we also let us understand that how we can identify our major zone is obvious. With our major zone identification, we want to be identify it on our higher time frame chart from 4 hour to weekly to daily and to the weekly, because the higher time frame supersede what the lower time frame are saying. The lower time frame is just there for to make up the market, to create what the higher time frame overall direction is. And if you look at this trade we have been on, if you look closely, we looking at this obvious zone here. And if we scroll all the way down, we can see the origin of what started this upward movement. You can see on the weekly chart, we were able to identify a major zone which serves as our support, because we've seen obvious touches on this level here. We identified the first level, the second, and the third. We make our decision based off of the third. So now with this weekly chart, if we go on the lower time frame under the 4 hour, now if we go on the lower time frame of the weekly, we can see that during those using those our major zone and the obvious touches we've had, and with the obvious touches we've had, we can see market gave us some minor zones, and we'll be able to see all these minor zones if we still go lower. Because if we are doing our analysis from weekly, we want to use 4 hour for direction. If you are starting our analysis based from 4 hour, we want to use the 15 minutes for direction for entry. And now let's assume we intend to swing this particular trade. When the market came here from the third touch, we'll have made our decision of entering this market, targeting the weekly major zone here. You can see this is the weekly major zone, because this was the last zone the market started selling off from. So if you are making our decision based on where the market found the support on the weekly, so definitely at this third touch, we are looking at this USD trade to go all the way to the major support on weekly. But we let us understand that before the market can reach such feat on the weekly chart, it will embark or encounter some difficulties, some challenges it needs to overcome. Now, on this weekly, we can see that on this 4 hour chart, this is the 4 hour chart. Yeah. We saw with the 4 hour chart here being our major zone, the market is currently reacting from the minor zones here, zones inside zone. Now let's go down to 15 minutes where we can see our minor zones. Now let's go down to 15 minutes where we can see our minor zone. You can see in the last class, I let us understand that what we are experiencing currently on the minor zone is we had a support here, we had a minor support, we've had a two touch. Now we had a breakout from this resistance zone, turn support. Price came back, and if you look at what happened here, we expected this trade in the last class. We expected this trade in the last class. But if you look at what happened here, market tried to hold on to this zone. When this breakout happened, the sellers pushed the price down back to this resistance on support. And when the market reaches here, we were meant to hold this place, but instead we broke through again. It shows that when this buy happens to go upward, when the sell was coming, the sellers intention and the seller's intention of holding this particular place was extremely low. You understand? Now, if you look at what happened, the sellers pushed the price down to this support zone. The buyers were meant to hold this particular region, but instead, we experienced a breakout. And that breakout, when that breakout occurs, we retested. The buyers still tried to push the price. We retested that zone, and that's what led to the current sell we are seeing now. And if you look at the current sell we are seeing now, we had a breakout and a retest, and the retest of that, it shows the willingness of the sellers to continue to push the price to the downward direction, and that happened. So that's why we are seeing this current sell we are seeing. You can see how USDJPY is selling aggressively, and if you look at where is this market heading to, it's coming all the way to this minor support on the 15 minutes chart. You can see it's coming all the way to the minor support on this 15 minutes chart. Like we explained in the last class, when the market reaches this minor zone, two things will happen. It's either we experience a breakout and or we hold that level. Welcome, Mr. Adutola. Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah. Fine. And how is yours? Did I give you assignments?
Yes.
Okay. You've done it? Okay, you can send it to our Telegram. So there is something I want.
Are you the one that hold the live session on site?
On TikTok. Okay, you joined our TikTok. TikTok.
Yes.
Yes, I was the one. Around what time?
First match.
Okay.
First in the morning.
Yes. I was the one.
I think that strategy you are putting there. I don't think that.
You don't think what? No, the people
I
that.
think that strategy.
Yeah, that one thing is that strategy is for people who are currently in an advanced class mode. You understand? You know, this trading has levels. It has stages. You understand? So this one now we are starting off. Once you understand this and we still move to another stage, you will be using this as an experience to understand what we want to teach again. So it's not a big deal. It's just still something. It's not a big deal. But this what we are doing now, these are like the foundation of that strategy you are saying I'm explaining on Friday. So there's no how you won't understand it. Once you understand this one, you'll be able to understand those ones fully. So this one is just like the foundation. You have to understand this foundation first before you can be able to say you want to understand those concepts. So everything is stage. So we are still on support and resistance, because after this support and resistance we are meant to be looking at trend line strategy. trend line strategy. You understand how we can make use of our trend line. So we'll be looking at that as well. But before we move on to that, there are things whereby we need to understand this support and resistance very well, and we can be able to identify our zones whereby, because this zone you are seeing, you can see in the last class I told you that when this minor support, we had a breakout here and we are expecting the market to give us a pullback to continue his downward direction, and you can see it is currently doing that. And with this breakout we've just experienced, we expect the market to come here. We expect the market to come after this support has been broken out. We had a retest, and where is the market coming? The market is coming to the minor support here, minor support zone here. Support zone here, you can see. So when this market that is coming now reaches this support, once it reaches this support, two things will happen. Is either we experience a breakout or this place hold, and if it's hold, where are we going back to? If this support zone hold for the third time, where are we going back? Because don't forget, we've had a first touch, a second touch. This one coming now will be our what? Will be our third touch. So if this third touch happens now, where are we going? Where are we heading to? If this third touch hold, we'll be coming to this what? To this minor resistance zone. And if the market reaches this minor resistance zone, two things will happen again. Is either we hold this resistance or we break out. Once we break out, another thing will happen. We will have a retest, a pullback to that level, and continue in the upward direction to test this untested minor resistance zone here. You can see. So this is how the market can move from zones to zones. From zones to zones. We want to be taking advantage of all these zones. We want to be taking advantage of it. And mind you, the zones whereby are more powerful are our major zones. And if we go back to our weekly chart now, look at our weekly. Now, for someone that intends to swing, the person have already identified two things. The person has identified the major zones on the weekly chart. The amount of power this zone will hold here is extremely powerful, because this is the overall zones, major zones. Here you can see this one is still untested, and the reason why we mark this place as our major zone on the weekly, but if you still look at the downside, we still have some zones below, untested zone. And if you look at the origin of what started this buy on the weekly chart, look at where here. Look at what started this origin of this movement, right? Right?
Yeah.
So now look at, this is the origin. This one too is a major support. Now let's look at again another one again. See another one again. This is another one here. With this one, we can see when the market reaches here, it was using it as a what? Resistance, right? It was using it as a resistance before, until we now experience what? A breakout. After that breakout happened, you can see markets again came and tested for the second time, right? At that second time, market was pushing up, but eventually it came all the way for what? For what? The third. Now we can see we had a first, second, and the third. And what eventually gave us this upward movement is the third what? The third touch. You can see how the third touch is mostly powerful. And after that third touch happened, here was meant to be a resistance, right? was meant to be a resistance, because if you look at market sold from here to create the second touch, market came again, it came again all the way to create a third touch. And when market broke out from that zone, you can see market broke out from that zone. And when the market broke out, it came back to what? To give us what? A pullback, a retest, and continue its upward direction. That gives us this overall what? Major resistance zone. So you can see now we reached a particular point here whereby when we experienced this breakout, market created another zone for itself. It created a zone here, a major support zone here, whereby at the first touch it went up, second touch it came, and now at this third touch, now for swing traders, this is where they will have made their decision, because they know with this second touch market came back again for the third touch. And you can see that when the market came back for the third touch on the weekly chart, this is the weekly chart, for you to know how powerful, this level and zones are. The market happens to make a touch on the third touch and it rejected. Now for swing traders, they will have made their decision, their entry where will swing traders make their entry?
Four.
Eh?
Empire, abi?
Yes. We've experienced at least two touches here. The first touch here, the second touch, and the market is coming all the way to create a what? The third touch. Where would they make their entry?
Now, yes.
Yes, they will make their entry at this what? At this third touch. And once they make their entry at this third touch, where would they be targeting as TP?
Next, resistance.
Imagine they will be targeting the next resistance, and you can see how the amount of profit they will bag on this level, because they will be holding, because they've made their decision. Let's go on to this is the weekly chart. They've made their decision on the weekly chart already, and they want to use the 4-hour for what? For entry. For swing traders, they will do analysis on weekly, use their 4-hour for entry. Now what they want to see on the 4-hour, they want to see some series of up close candles, bullish candles. And now once they make that decision here, they've positioned themselves, putting their stop loss below here, and they already know that the market this trade will be a swing trade, and they will hold all the way. All these ones the market is doing does not concern them, because once the market reaches a major zone, it will create some minor support, some minor zones. All these ones, swing traders, it doesn't matter, as long as they've made their decision, they've made their entry here. And sometimes they might secure, when the market reaches a particular point here, they will have secured profit by trading their stop loss, putting low here, putting their stop loss to entry, because they've seen some significant amount of money. But where they are targeting overall is the major resistance, because they know this market that took off from a major support should be heading to a major resistance. So swing traders here, they will have made their decision, they will have made their entry, they will hold for weeks, for days, for months, they will hold. So they know the amount they are, and for a swing trader, if you look at here, they might be risking maybe, let's say, like $1,000. And if the market reaches, they might be looking to make ratio 20, ratio 10, ratio 20. It means that they are risking $1,000 to profit how much? In ratio 20. Huh? 1 ratio 20. What would they be looking to profit? they will be looking to profit on a 1 ratio 10. They will be looking to risk $1,000 to make $10,000. On ratio 20, they will be looking to risk $1,000 to profit. They will be looking to risk $1,000 to profit $20,000. So you can see how swing traders, once they make their decision, their own, they don't check um, the trade or market every minute or every hour, because once they make their entry, their own is they've put their stop losses, they've put their TP. Their own is just for the market to do its thing, and the market should move in the direction of where it is meant to go. But here now, we've made our entry at the third touch here. Now we're expecting, because I told you, like I always say, the market will overcome through some obstacles, and the obstacles here in this regard means all these minor zones you are seeing. Because sometimes for us to see that buy market, maybe if we are in a buy trade, we made a buy decision here, we will be seeing that the market is fighting through some zones, trying to break through some zones. Why some zone? We want to try and identify which zone is stronger, which zone is weaker. Once one is weaker, the buyers or sellers will take over, will take advantage. Once one zone is stronger, the buyers or sellers, they will take advantage of that particular zone. It's like a fight, a war between the buyers and sellers, and the buyers are those that makes a particular zone of a support zone. The sellers are those that makes a particular zone of a resistance zone. So it is the participants of these people that will make us determine what we want to do. You understand? So sometimes the market will go through some obstacles. On this 4-hour chart now, we can see it is visible that after identifying our major support on the weekly chart, we came all the way for the 4-hour, on the 4-hour, to see the price action. All the candles here you are seeing, they are representative of what the market is doing, price actions. What makes up the price actions is our candlestick pattern, what they are saying, who is in control, letting us understand who is in control between the buyers on the sellers. Once this formation are made, and we are using this historical price data to understand or predict what will happen in the future, and those was made possible by the market participants, buyers and the sellers.
I'll play one class. One class. I'll call you back.
I will call you back, one class. So the market will overcome some obstacles. We will have some minor zones, minor zones here. Now, with this minor zone being identified, we expect markets, before it can go the direction we want to go. We want to see how strong these zones are. If we are in a bullish scenario, we expect that the market, the current decline we are seeing on this resistance zone, we are expecting the market again to reach a particular point to gain more strength and momentum in order to continue in the upward direction. In order to continue in its upward direction. Now we had a minor zone here. A minor zone here. And don't mind you, in last class we were able to identify that when we are experiencing a minor zone, a minor resistance zone here, we expect two things. When the market reaches, we expect a breakout. And after a breakout happened, we expect the market to give us a pullback or a retracement in order for that upward direction to happen. But instead, we did not see such thing. We did not see such fit. But instead, after a breakout occurred, we saw a pullback or a retest of that breakout. And after that happened, you can see the decline in price. Price started selling. And now the current place where market is coming off is coming to test the closest support. And we can identify that this support, it seems like a minor support that is going to hold. potentially, because we've had a first and the second. The second was what leads to this huge impulsive movement. And with this third one coming now, we expect market to come, test it, and continue in its what? In its upward direction. You can see. Now, let's look for another pair and make and apply same concept, because with this concept you can literally use it on any market of our choice, whether it is crypto, stocks, and commodities, anyone. So let's look at the BTC chart. Let's look at the BTC chart. Now, if we want to start based off of, maybe we want to look at this market from the weekly here, we can see that we have some things here. Now, we are seeing some things here. We want to first of all identify this. What happened in the previous data of what the market has done. Mr. Dayton, are you with me? Okay. I thought you are not active. See now, if you want, even if you are a day trader, a scalper, or whatsoever, you want to first of all identify your major areas. You want to look at the left hand side to understand what has happened previously in the market, in order for you to make your prediction of what will happen in the future. Now, on this BTC chart, we can see we have a clean chart here. We have not done anything. What we want to do is we want to identify what is happening. We want to know what happened here. Now we could see that there was a point whereby BTC reaches a particular place here, and it created a resistance zone. And after creation of that resistance zone, we had a sell-off. And after that sell-off happened, we eventually what? We broke out of that zone. And we broke out of that zone. That's why I said, no matter how long, one thing is very, very sure and 100% in markets. One thing is very, very sure and 100% in market. When you have a breakout from a particular zone, this one is 100%. It will happen. No matter how long it takes, it will definitely come back. For what? For a retest or pullback. Now, you can see this is on a weekly chart. You can see how long it took for this market to come back for a retest. It took months, because don't forget, we are still on the weekly chart. It took months. After this breakout happened from here, it took months, like in estimates of how many, maybe like up to like 6 months for the market to come back to test a weekly resistance on support. Now the market came, and this one, like I said, is very, very, is 100% sure. When we have a breakout, no matter how impulsive the market moves, it will definitely come back to that zone it breaks out from. That one is very, very sure. So now when we have that support, when that support held, the sellers pushed the price to where we had a breakout. And when the market reaches that breakout point, what happened again? We noticed the buyers, they bought. And mind you, this place becomes our resistance, because we had a sell-off, a second touch, and now when the sellers push the price down back to the support on resistance, we had the buyers push the price to this point. When it reaches here, the sellers try to push the price down, but eventually the buyers were able to what again? To break out from this zone. They break out from this zone. Here. They break out from this zone. Here. So after this breakout, we can notice something happened here. Something happened here. The market found a kind of support here again, because we had after this breakout from this zone, if you look closely, we had a breakout and we had a retest with this we had a retest. This is the retest and a continuation. But markets, the sellers still try to like push the price, but eventually we had a breakout from it. And that breakout was what led to the upward direction we are seeing. But sometimes the market will use some kind of, you can see after the market broke out through this minor support on this place here, the market came again, it came back again. When it came back and tested it, and now it gave us what? A new impulsive movement to the upside. You can see how it happens. Now if you look at what is now currently happening here, we've seen another resistance here. You can see the market has created a new resistance, rejecting. We had the first touch, market came back here, and we had the second touch, right? With this second touch now, we are expecting the market again to come to this what? Support. So if the market comes to this support zone, we are expecting the market again to push up, because we've had a breakout, the second touch, this will be the third touch. So with this third touch, we expect this zone to hold and the buyers to push the price up to that level. So you can see on this is the weekly chart. Now
But, sorry, sir.
okay,
In this market, as this market is going now,
yes,
the market is going in,
yeah,
and this, are you ready to
yeah, I can hear you.
the market is coming like higher high,
Definitely, because if you look at, we've had a higher high, higher low. If you look at this one, this is our new higher high, and with this higher low, the market was meant to give us what? A new higher high, but instead it gave us equal highs. We have equal highs, because if you look closely, the market did not break. It did not break with the body. See, instead it took that place as liquidity and started what? Selling. You can see
not break
a body candle. Yes, a body candle. So if had it been it had broke,
the market,
had it been that market have broke
maybe
with a body candle,
body,
we can now say this pullback that is happening will serve as our higher low, in order for us to have a new what? Higher high. But this one that is coming now is we have equal highs instead, and with these equal highs, we're expecting market again to come all the way and test this weekly support. You understand? And test this weekly support. Once the market comes and test this weekly support, we might now eventually go all the way to what? To have a new higher high. Do we understand now? You can see. So this uptrend is still valid until the sellers violate this low. Until these sellers violate this low, and once they violate this low, it seems there wants to be a change of trend. But this place is still valid. The sellers can only push this price down to this region, or sometimes it might even reach halfway, and the market will go all the way to create a new higher high. You understand? So you can see now. And how would have the swing traders will have taken advantage of this? Now let's look at the 4 hour. Look at how someone, even if you are not even trading or you are not buying and selling BTC, you just intend to buy, because you know with crypto you can buy and hold a particular currency. Now swing traders will have bought where? They will have bought here. They will have bought where? Here. Once they make their decision here, you can see they bought here knowing that the market will go all where. They know the market. See how they will have held. They will have bagged a lot of money. Swing traders, nobody enjoys market than them. But for you to be a swing trader, that means you have some certain amount of money or capital that you know that once you make your trade, you just want to forget it and let the market do its thing. Look at how swing traders will have profited. The market reaches there, but they know that with this breakout we had a breakout here, and obviously there will be what? There will be what? Once we have a breakout, what are we expecting the market to do?
come back.
Exactly. We expect the market to come back. You see how long it took for the market to give us. See how the breakout was huge, and with that breakout we can see this piece is still fresh. The market came all the way. It sold all the way to this breakout point. And when the market reaches this breakout point, it came all the way to retest it, and it retested. Swing traders would have anticipated this and joined the trade here. They made their entry. They made their entry here, targeting this point, this overall point here. You can see how they will have put in this place as a they will have bagged 1:10. 1:10 is in sense that when you are risking $1,000, you are profiting $10,000 here. You are risking $100, you are risking $10,000, you are profiting $100,000. So that's how swing traders make their decisions, because they know once the market reaches this particular point, and if you look at what will have made them make decision, they won't just make a decision. They want to see something. They want to see something here. And if you look at what they saw here, we had some series of we had first of all we had a bullish arami that push up this market. Again, we have a bullish engulfing candle. And if we make use of our bullish component formation, now look at we are having series of lower highs, lower lows. But now with this lower high, we are expecting the market to give us what? A lower low. But instead, the market did not what? It did not give us that one. Instead, it gave us a low instead. And after that, after giving us a low, it went all the way to give us a higher high. A higher high. You can see. So with this higher high, we should know that using our structure of the market, we expect the market to what? To give us a pullback. A pullback to give us what? Higher low. And after that pullback happened, market gave us a new impulsive movement to give us what? To give us what? A higher high. You can see a higher high. So they are using these components. We are using both the support and resistance components in line with the structure of the market to enter the trade, to enter the market. And now we will have taken advantage of this, because we don't just want to enter because we've not seen a retest or a retest of the breakout. We want to see something, and swing traders will have entered here. Once they notice they have a high, they want the market to give us a pullback, and the market give a pullback, they will make their decisions here, making their entry here. Stop loss will be down and targeting all the way to the overall major resistance zone. And if you look at what the market did, the market eventually reaches that point. You can see, making their decision based off of what they see, not a guesswork. So do we understand? Any question? Yeah.
I understand, sir.
uh let's look at one more. Let's look at one more examples. Let's look at um which market would you like us to quickly look at before we call it a day for today's class? Which market?
CDT,
Okay, GPP USD. GPP USD. Now look at what happened here. On the weekly charts, we could see that. Let's look at the overall thing that is happening on the weekly chart. So here being, we could see that the market on the weekly chart, we had an untested support. This was the origin of what made it up, right? You can see market came all the way, and this market sold aggressively and reaches and come to give us a second touch on this weekly chart. And if you look at again now, we've identified, do we have a closest major resistance zone? Yes, you can see we've identified our major zones on the weekly charts. Now with this weekly chart, swing traders sometimes they know the weekly zones are very powerful. If you look at this zone, this was a zone whereby the buys started from. They know when the market reaches and comes all the way to make a second touch, they will anticipate to enter a trade here. And if you go on, let's go on the 4 hour. Let's go on the 4 hour. Now if we look at the 4 hour, we will be seeing some zones here, but we've already tapped in onto the overall weekly support, which is very powerful. So with the weekly support happened, now look at what happened here. We are seeing series of higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Now we've seen a recent lower low here, a recent lower low here. So with this recent lower low, we expect the market to give us a pullback to continue in its direction, but instead, don't forget, we are trading based off of a weekly support to signify how powerful that can be. And the market instead gave us a high. Instead, market gave us a high with giving us a higher low here. The market gave us higher low. Now that signifies that it seems the trend of this sell we are seeing is about to change. It also means that this support zone on the weekly chart wants to hold. Now we had a higher low. With this higher low, the market gave us what? It gave us a higher high. Higher high. You can see how the market changed trend from the bearish scenario, making use of the weekly support zone to signify how strong that place is. A lot of people will have been anticipating, banks, individuals, retail, hedge funds, managers, everybody will have anticipating targeting the weekly support zone. And if you, after this higher high, the market came, gave us a pullback as usual, gave us a pullback or a retracement to give us a new higher low. And after that higher low, the market gave us what? Gave us a higher high. You can see how the trend of the market changed from the bearish into the current bullish format we are seeing. So the market gave us higher high again. The market gave us higher high, giving us a little pullback. It's still the same higher low here, and creating a new higher high. The market gave us higher high, gave us a higher low, giving us this new what? New higher high. You can see how the trend of the market change using the same concept, making use of our support and resistance. So we've been able to identify structures, change of structures in this regard. So you can see. So now when the market gave us higher low here, the price market was meant to respect this zone, but instead this place will be respected in this regard. So this place will be respected in this regard. You can see the market gave us higher low here took out this place and used it as a liquidity or a fake out and continue in its upward direction to give us a new. Do we even have that higher? No, it gave us equal highs instead. We had higher low here, higher high, give us higher high here, and we have a huge pullback. This is equal highs. This is now equal highs. So market came back, sold to a particular level and respected this zone here. And respected this zone here. And when it took out this zone, it continued in its upward direction to eventually give us what? Give us a higher high formation. So you can see, so the market will always give us a reason to enter a position or to make a decision. You can see we made use of the higher level, higher time frame, weekly supports to understand how the market wants to change trend. Swing traders will have made their decision here. They saw that the market came to the overall weekly resistance. They will make their entry based off of the 4-hour chart. And for day traders, they will go all the way down to 15 minutes to make their entry using the same concept. And don't forget that once we have this kind of, there's a way whereby there's a way whereby with this regard, how could we have taken advantage here? We know that what we want to be seeing is, we know that with this kind of scenario, we want to be taking advantage of our swing points. If you look at the resistance, we have some minor zones here. We have a resistance zone. We had until we had a breakout, and when that breakout happened, we experienced that the market reaches a point here and found some kind of support here. You can see. So with this now, we can still be able, even if you are not making use of the bullish market components, we can still make use of our support and resistance, but understand the structure. Before we can make the decision, we want to know whether the structure of the market has changed from a bearish into a bullish. So in this bullish format, the only interest we are interested in is to join the trend of the market. We are interested in buying, and we had a breakout here and we had a retest, and the market continues to buy. Market breaks out again from here, give us this market breakouts again from here. It gave us what? It gave us a retest. We are taking advantage of the swing points of the structure of the market, because we are still on a bullish market. Market breakout from here gave us a retest and created a new resistance zone here. It came back all the way, test this zone again. You can see it came back again. It came back and it tests this support zone for the second touch. Now see how we've been able to identify another resistance turn support in the minor. And mind you, the reason why we started making use of this is because price bounces off from the overall weekly support zone on the weekly charts. Now our only interest to want to be following in line with what we are seeing. And if you look at the current structure of the market, we can see that we had a breakout from the resistance zone turn support. Market came for the second touch, and if you look closely again, market came all the way for what? For the third touch. Market came for the third touch, and you can see we are experiencing some kind of range here. First touch from the sellers sold, buyers bought from here, sellers sold, buyers bought from here, sellers, when the buy came here, we eventually have what? A breakout. And when that breakout happened, we have a retest of that breakout that gave us this current structure we are seeing. The market reaches a particular point here, creating this resistance zone. And now here being the resistance zone, you can see this, the sellers, they push the price down. They try to push the price down, trying to test where the market broke out from. And when the sell came, eventually they broke out from that support zone. When the breakout happened on the retest, you can see we came back for a retest, but eventually that retest failed. The buyers pushed the price up again to this point. And when the buyers push the price up, we also want to wait for the retest of the buyers to test that support zone. And the buyers eventually, their own retest was successful. After the success of that retest, they pushed the price all the way to the untested resistance zone. You can see market came again to that untested resistance zone. We had a fake out and market came back to that support again. It came back to that support, did some kind of fake out, and still go all the way to test this zone. And after testing this zone, we had what? We had a breakout again. We now have a real breakout. You can see we had a breakout here, and after that breakout, we had a retest, and that leads to the current market movement we are experiencing here. So people who will have taken advantage of this, they will have waited on the 4-hour chart. With this breakout we saw here, they're expecting the market to come and test this zone, which is eventually did. It gave us a pullback. So they made their entry. They made their entry here, putting their stop loss here, and following the market movement. You can see, very straightforward. So do you have a question before we call it today for today's class? Any question? So since there is no question, please, the assignment I gave you, kindly make sure you send to our Telegram so we can cross check. So in the next class we'll continue from where we stopped here. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day.